I am 3 weeks away from giving up the grocery store. In 3 weeks, I am embarking on a year of foraging every bite of my food and medicine. And I mean every bite. So today, I wanted to show you where I'm at. 3 weeks out from embarking on one of the most potentially challenging adventures and endeavors and explorations of my life. And 3 weeks away from something I'm very, very excited about. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what I've harvested, what I'm processing, what I have stored, and what's to come in the next 3 weeks before I get started. So I'm gonna share about some of these plants I have here. Over here I have my wild rice, monomen, the food that grows on water. And I've got 6 bags of it here. This has been dried, and now I will be taking it into a local rice processor, and they will go through a 3-step process of removing the husk, so I have ready to eat wild rice. I am looking at having about 80 or so pounds of wild rice. I harvested about 190 on the water, and then you cut that down into about half, so about 80 pounds of rice. So I'm looking really good in the wild rice front, and this is one of the plants that has transformed my life more than any other plant. And I love working with wild rice and the Anishinaabe people of this region who have been stewards of the rice for the last 1,000 years. So you're going to see more from me on the wild rice, my love for it, and my desire to be a servant and steward of the rice and the people here. Apples are one of my absolute staples, and I harvested this from a tree a few days ago. These are the ones that came from the tree that were on the tree, and then these were on the ground. All great apples, and I'm going to be making applesauce and apple juice as well as eating them fresh. And this is just a fraction of the apples. I'll harvest, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times this amount perhaps. I'm going to make a lot of applesauce. Over here, come on over, I've got the apples that are not ideal for eating, a lot of the older ones, and these are my deer apples. So I am hopefully going to turn these apples into a deer that I hunt. And that will be my first time hunting a deer if I'm successful. And I'm both excited and a little bit, it's a lot. It's a skill. It's a skill that I don't have yet. And it's a skill that I need to develop and will be developing this year if all goes well. So along with the apples, here are some pears, feral pears, and I'm letting these ripen up. These were all from a nearby pear tree that these had all fallen to the ground. And I am going to harvest a lot more of these pears in the next week or two. I just processed a few gallons of plums, and this is the leftover. Well, I got the pure plum fruit, all the fruit to make the plum sauce. And then what I have here is I soaked the leftovers in water, and then I'm making a vinegar. And actually I can see this thing is bubbling right now. I can see the bubbles. This is just after 1 day. So this is turning into alcohol, and then after alcohol it will turn to vinegar. So that's how I will have my vinegar. Let's see how this plum one does. And actually, I'm gonna give this a little taste. It's excited. Like very plummy, very summery. Kind of reminds me of being 8 years old and having a Kool-Aid stand, except it's an all-natural Kool-Aid stand that feels way better. Boy, if you were here, I would share some of this with you, but yeah, I'll update you on that. Thank you, Plum, for enriching my life. So down here are 2 apple cider vinegars. So I already made juice with the apples, and let's give this a taste. So these are some apples that I harvested in Minneapolis. So this has been going for maybe 5 weeks. Let's give it a nice. It's vinegary, it's past the alcohol stage. I would say that is a true vinegar, I think. Hopefully it develops more, but a true vinegar. All right, and then this one is only about a week old. This is a feral pear or feral apple up in this area. Let's see. Yeah, still got sweetness to it, so it's still transitioning to alcohol. And I don't drink alcohol, but I drink vinegar, and I use vinegar, and I love it. Let's see, what else do I want to show you here? Well, back here, these 2 big bags are wild hazelnuts. I collected about 20 gallons of hazelnut, which will come down to only about a gallon of actual nuts. And actually, I have some nuts right here. So you can see what I'm going for here. These are the nuts in the shell. Man, I love hazelnuts. I love all the wild nuts. I am officially this year going to be a nut person. Already a nutty person, but now a true nut person, because I'm going to get into the acorns. Oh, I'm going to get into the acorns. I'm so excited for the nuts. So here are hazelnuts here. And so I let them dry for some time, and then the nuts remove really easily. If you try to do this right away, it's a more time-intensive process. But I won't do each one like that. I'll actually put them in a bag and smash them up and get most of the nuts out. And yeah, so there's some hazelnuts for you. This is a bucket full of herbs, dried herbs that I have. So mushrooms, hops, and numerous chokecherry leather, different herbs and seeds, and so a lot of these are things that I need to transfer into the jars, which I'll show you that in a little while. So these are some of my recently processed that need to still get put into their final space. But also, I'm excited for this 5-gallon bucket when I'm traveling. I think I'm going to travel with a 5-gallon bucket full of bags like this, and in doing so be able to carry so much food and medicine in the lightest way possible. It's a balance with plastic. I would ideally have no plastic, but as you can see, there's some around, and this is me doing my best to balance simplicity and existing outside of, systems of fossil fuels and destruction. But I'm excited where I'm at in that regard, and will continue to get better. So, okay, a couple other things that I have here. Now, this is some aronia juice, and this comes from the aronia berry, and I normally make this for drinking. Wow. I mean, this right here, nature's medicine. I'm talking about, words aren't going to describe it right now. So, however, when I was straining it, I strained it through this cloth, and this is the color that it turned it. And so I am going to experiment with naturally dyeing with aronia. Now, this isn't going to be something that would maintain its color if you're washing it a lot. So I'm thinking about doing a wool shirt with aronia. and giving that a try. I really love this color. So with my food is my medicine, and also with my food and medicine comes a lot of my natural dyes for clothes. This is the dyer's polypore that I harvested a few days ago from a cemetery. And with this, I will be able to finally dye some of my clothes green. I've been hoping and trying to get green for a couple of years. And this dyer's polypore is one of the mushrooms I've been seeking. There it was, just as I need to dye my clothes. So I hope that's enough. But that's one plant I'll be working with. And yeah, just take a look at this wild rice. So I wanted to be able to show you a nice little handful of it there. This is what it's like now before I bring it to the processor, who will parch it to remove the husks to make them brittle, then put it through a thrasher to separate the husks from the rice grains, and then through a fanning device to remove the dry and have just the rice. So maybe next time you see me, I'll have that rice back. Let's see. So, and then over here, I'd love to show you this drying rack. This was built by my friend Otis and I, and the idea is to be able to dry a lot of foods, dehydrate a lot of foods. So right now I have turkey tail mushrooms up here. I love turkey tail mushrooms. These are one of my medicinal mushrooms. I've got, this is bee balm or monarda or wild bergamot here. And this is one of my main spices. This is a little bit of fluff from above, which probably the mice put there. And let's see if there's any mouse poop up here. Yep, there's some mouse poop. I have a relationship with these mice. I love them. I love them. And then what else do we have here? We have, this is catnip. So we've got catnip here. That'll help with my, if I want something to really relax some tension at the end of the night and help me sleep. It's a nice sleepy time herb. More bee balm. And then down here we have mullein. And mullein is an herb that I make tea from as well. It's one of my nice general herbal teas. I have a bunch of evening primrose drying out there, but for the sake of some brevity, I'm going to not go out there because who knows what we'll get distracted by out there. Everything that's over here are foods that I've dehydrated to store all the way up until here. And then these are the foods that some of them I've foraged, but that I am eating prior to the year officially beginning. And then I have garden foods here, a lot from my mom's garden, local eggs, local onions, etc. Tomatoes from my mom's garden. Thank you, Mom. Your garden has thoroughly enriched my life, and your love for gardening it really gives me something to have joy for, so thank you. So this will all be completed, and then I'll remove everything from the shelf, and then everything from here over, I started the preparation on July 1st, and the first official day is October 7th. So basically 3 months of prep time, and I have 3 weeks left of that. And I haven't been foraging like really hard. I've done a good amount of foraging, but I've been doing a lot of other things. So this is foraging with diligence, but also, definitely by no means an all-day type of thing at all. So what I have so far, I have this area here is all mostly mushrooms. And then here, this is all teas and herbs and a few spices. So some of my key mushrooms, I've got my medicinal mushrooms. So this is reishi from dying hemlock. This is chaga from birch. And here's the ground up chaga powder. And then I also have turkey tail And then I also have birch bark polypore. So those all go into my medicinal tea blend. That's one of my main sustenances for my medicine, the medicinal tea blend. I also have some chicken of the woods for broth. I have 2 gallons of chanterelles. I harvested 42 gallons of chanterelles, 42 pounds of chanterelles. So it was a big chanterelle year for me. And then I'm just going to list them all for you. I have elderberry, fireweed, wood nettle, stinging nettle, pineapple weed, basswood leaves, valerian, sweet fern, basswood flowers, monarda, St. John's wort, hawkweed, cattail pollen, rose, Joe pieweed, blueberry, peppercrest, boneset, mugwort, green powder from the basswood, motherwort, mullein. I have to say, I am feeling very excited right now at all of this. I mean, this is all from the earth. All of this is from the earth through relationships that have been built up over time. Food and medicine, and I love it. I'm so excited about having a shelf full of jars, full of food from the land. So continuing on, there's heel all, yarrow, red clover, onion, goldenrod, sweet clover, sweet gale, comfrey, and mint. And I actually, now that I mentioned onion, this is my first time fermenting onions. Hey Patrick, give that a smell.
Okay. Ooh, that's good.
So fermented onions with no salt. I'm experimenting with the no salt because I don't have any salt yet, not until I get to the East Coast in 3 weeks. And then, oh my gosh. Oh, do you see the bulge on this?
Oh.
So this is onions fermented in clear weed liquid. This is now 6 weeks and the top is bulging, and I want to try this right now, but I think I might wait until day 1 possibly. And let's see, there are also, I have 10, I haven't done so well with the berries this year. I'm still really hoping for my autumn berries, autumn olive, on the trip. And, oh, of course, high bush cranberry is looking good and nannyberry is looking good. So the latest fall fruits, I'm pretty hopeful for. The earlier ones, serviceberry and Juneberry, serviceberry and blueberry, it just wasn't one of the best years, and I had a lot going on at those times as well. There's actually some more even stored down here. This is all goldenrod, and so there's some, see a lot more basswood leaves over here, and then most of the rest of the food down here is my domesticated food, which I will shed myself of in 3 weeks. So that's what I've got food-wise, but there's one other thing, and that is the freezer. So I'm going to take you up to the freezer to show you what's in there. Here is the deep chest freezer where I am storing a fair bit of food, and this will be full soon. In here, well, let's see. I'm in the middle of a project actually, and that's making grape juice ice cubes. Because then in the winter, I can just take 1 or 2 ice cubes, put it into a cup of water, and have myself delicious, fresh tasting grape juice. Very convenient. And so I'm making bags of these. In here, there's plum sauce that I froze to add to my applesauce once I can. I haven't done hardly any canning yet. Alright, I'm not going to leave that out for long. Lots of grape juice here. This little section here are the things that I have that I did not forage, so this will be gone. Everything this way is foods that I have indeed foraged. So I have milkweed pods. Oh, this is some frozen onion. That one's not my best creation. I have about 10 bags of frozen chicken of the woods. I think about maybe 10 pounds of chicken of the woods. I do have frozen about 5 or 6 of these frozen bags of applesauce, which I can just take out in the winter and, eat this over a period of a few days. Let's see. This is, I think I have a couple gallons of elderberry. So for making syrup, but maybe a pie. I've got 1 gallon of service berries or June berries, which, wow, I expected to have 20 gallons of this, but 1 gallon is what I have. A lot of frozen chanterelle. So I pre-cooked the chanterelle to remove the most of the water, and lots of bags of chanterelle. Again, I got 42 pounds of chanterelle. Then I have some choke cherries, which a lot of times when I'm busy and I don't have time to jump onto processing right away, it just goes into the freezer. Okay, now here's a goofy one, and I'm not sure when I'll go for this, but I will record a video. This is a chunk of wild rice grubs. So you get thousands of wild rice grubs, tens of thousands as you're ricing. And I let them crawl up to the top of the bag, and then I can shake off a whole bunch at once. And I would have liked to have had more, but I was fairly busy. So that's my wild rice grubs, and I'm going to make an interesting dish out of this on maybe someday when I'm really needing a real pick-me-up. I'll eat all these grubs. It might sound like a joke, but I love grubs, and so do millions of human beings on Earth. If you're thinking anything about that is disgusting, really, what are you saying about cultures that have existed for tens of thousands of years, who have eaten insects for thousands of years? We're talking about billions of human beings who eat insects, and I know I am not part of one of those cultures, but it doesn't mean that I can't reconnect to a very basic way of being that we've been. So eating bugs is also a statement, I guess, but I mostly do it because I love them. I fully enjoy it. So that is more or less what is in the freezer, and not going to make the mistake of leaving these out. I'm always processing, always doing work, so I got to come and put new ice cubes in soon. And then I may as well show you while we're here, just to give you a little bit of a tidbit of... So I don't have electricity down at the cabin, and no Wi-Fi, which is nice. So electricity I use up here at my landmate Roy's. And so I've got a Instant Pot, I've got a high-powered blender, I've got an electric tea kettle, and then I also have a food dehydrator. And so I'm using technology. This is that area of things, using electricity, and I am indeed foraging every bite of my food for a year, but I have not gone back to an era of thousands of years ago. I'm using the few items that really, really make so much more effectiveness and efficiency, and minimizing technology where I don't need it. So I have some technology and I have a balance, and I'll share more about that in a future video. So let's go back down to what I call the hermitage. How much food do I have? How much food am I going to store? And how much time have I spent, or will I spend? These are some of the most common questions that I receive, and so I'm going to go ahead and answer that to the best of my ability right now. So how much food do I have? I have not done inventory to come up with the exact figures. I probably have enough herbs to get me through the winter, but I haven't even started to harvest fish or venison. So much more apples to harvest, fall fruits. There's a lot still to harvest, and I'm in a pretty good place. I'm in not the place I was hoping, but I have a fair bit. And how much am I going to store? Well, I don't need to store as much as a lot of people might think, because you can forage a lot of months of the year. And also, I'm going to be doing this as a traveling around the country foraging endeavor. I'm taking trips to the East Coast, Florida, and probably the West Coast. So I am place-based. Most of my food is represented by the Northwoods up here in northern Wisconsin, along the shores of Lake Superior. So that will be the major portion of my diet, but I'll be traveling as well. So how much will I store? A fair bit more. And I'll be able to answer that more throughout the months ahead, I suppose. So again, I started preparation on July 1st, and it's mid-September, 16th, I think. And so I have about 3 months total of preparation before immersing. And what's on the list for the next 3 weeks? Well, I'd like to show you. So I have here my food, what food I have, how much food I'm going to eat, kind of calculating calories and protein and fat, how much I need of storage, etc. But I have this much more detailed on a spreadsheet on my computer. But that gives you an idea. And as far as what I'm wanting to forage now, sumac, plums, whitefish, salmon, brambleberry leaves, more apples, sweet fern, sweet gale, ramp bulbs, black walnuts, deer, maitake chaga and turkey tail, hopefully on Madeline Island, high bush cranberry in cornucopia and Superior, fall mushrooms, green powder, buckthorn for dyeing, pears in Washburn, and aronia as well. So that gives you an idea of what I'm focused on harvesting over the next few weeks. And the first day is October 7th, and I will arrive at the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, in Portland, Maine area. And so I was originally going to start on the first day of fall because I liked that idea. I pushed it back a few weeks, and instead we'll start when I arrive at the coast for my fall speaking tour, and I'll harvest salt, and that will be the beginning of the year of foraging. And so I'll be on tour in the East Coast, New York, D.C., up from Portland all the way down to Richmond, Virginia. So if you'd like to come and forage with me in person, take a look at the website, robingreenfield.org/foragingyear. And then Florida this winter, as well as cities in between, and potentially Southern California. So if you want me to bring this to you, and you'd really like to learn foraging, and you'd like me to bring my whole display of foraged foods, then let me know. And I'm going to be going to where people want me to be, communities that want to host me, and use this as a revolution of the mind, getting people to see that food and medicine is growing freely and abundantly all around us. And we can do this in a way that's not detrimental to the earth, but that shows our love for the earth. It exists in a state of reciprocity with the earth, with the plants, with the animals, and with the humans that we share this home with. So I am very much here to share the practicals and how-to, but really all of this is about deepening a relationship with earth and coming to a place of living in harmony. That's what this is really about. That's what I'm really going for here. I mean, I love apples, don't get me wrong. And I love these hazelnuts just for what they are. But really, this for me is a gateway. This is a gateway to reconnecting with the earth. As I develop my relationship with all these plants, more and more of the civilized, domesticated side of me starts to dissolve away. Each one of these relationships is becoming a more wild human being, a human being who isn't living based on societal norms and societal structures and dogmas, but is living to the best of my ability based on a natural flow with the earth. This is me getting into a natural flow with the earth, and that's what I want to be here with all of you for. Although you're here on the computer and there's this separateness, I 100% believe that we can use this as a tool to help you to become less dependent upon this computer and have real life skills that empower you and your community to take back the power from big ag, put that power right into our hands, the hands of us as individuals, as families, as friends, and as communities. So this foraging stuff is an act of resistance. Linda Black Elk said that to me. Foraging is an act of resistance, and that's what this is. And I'll be sharing more about that with you. I'm going to be doing a weekly video for the entire year, this being the first one. So you're going to really get to see what I'm doing. One video per week that's a deep log of the last week and what I'm up to and how things are going. And so, yeah, I invite you to be here with me. I'm deeply, deeply passionate about this, very excited. I'm hopeful, I'm invigorated, and I know a lot of you are too, because the first video that I put out, like 40,000 people followed my pages just when I said I'm about to embark on this. And so I know there's a lot of you that are excited. I'm excited to be here with you. This is all coming from the heart, from the love, and from the deep, deep passion for us to develop loving, harmonious, connected relationships with the earth. Oh, and one of the most common questions is, who's filming? Well, today it's Patrick. Hello, Patrick.
Hey.
Where'd we meet?
So I met Robin at a foraging school that he had a few weeks back, my wife and I and my 3 children. And I was just blown away by the abundance of nature. I had no idea there were so many spices and medicines and things you can eat. And this is coming from someone who grew up on a farm in northern Minnesota and grew up hunting white-tailed deer. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know Robin, you, and thank you for sharing all your gifts with myself and the audience.
Thanks for sharing. On that note, goodbye, friends.